a pleasure to be able to do a program dedicated to the Jazz Masters. There's a lot written about great musicians of the 1920s, and we have just chosen 3 of those Jazz Masters, and we're going to be playing the masterworks of those Jazz Masters. In other words, we're going to play the most challenging and the most memorable and the most talked about, the most written about music of each of these people. The first person we're going to talk about is Jelly Roll Morton, and I just attended yes, you give him a big hand. He was a wonderful contributor to jazz, and I just heard the High Sierra do a very nice program on Jelly Roll, and I learned a few things about the man, even though I thought I knew quite a bit. I learned a few new things. He was the man who had 100 suits. He's the man who carried a $1,000 bill around in his wallet, so if somebody came up to him and said, "Hey, Jelly Roll, how are things going with you?" he'd just whip out the $1,000 bill and didn't have to say a word. He had a diamond in his tooth, so that when he would smile, his smile would glisten. And as you may have, if you attended that other concert, you found out that he had several professions, and he probably made more money, it has been said, as a pool hustler than any of his other professions. He was an itinerant piano player, basically, and traveled all over the place. And so you read about him going from here to there and here to there. And it was said by the High Sierra Band that a person who was a pool hustler really didn't stay in one place very long. I think that's probably true. And the other way that he made money was that you probably hear about him on TV now, but he had a more direct approach to a dating service. He told Alan Lomax, the man who interviewed him, that he alone had invented jazz. So he was called a braggart, and I always kind of had this funny impression of him as being an overbearing and kind of not a very nice man to be around, but I don't think that was true at all. I've read some comments from people who were with him when he was recording his masterworks in 1926 and 1927 in Richmond, Indiana, and these are very complicated arrangements. And you would think that maybe if he were very temperamental, it would have been difficult to record with him, but he had great musicians there, and they all spoke very highly of him. We're going to play 3 songs from that period. These are the kinds of recordings that other musicians around the world and around the country listened to and said, "Wow, this jazz music is what I want to do. I'm very impressed with this band." He recorded these 3 tunes, and they are in order. That we'll just play them one after another. 3 songs together. In music, we call this a smedley. First one is a song called "The Chant." The second one is his greatest work called "The Black Bottom Stomp." Wynton Marsalis and his Lincoln Center Orchestra play this song on concerts to pay homage to Jelly Roll Morton, and they've written out a complete arrangement of this song. It's the Black Bottom Stomp, very, very, my first or second favorite song in all the literature. And then John Bredenberg's going to sing Dr. Jazz.
Everybody gets the blues now and then, and don't know what to do. I've had it happen many times before, and so have you. But those days are gone and past. I found what to do at last. When I'm feeling down and out, you can hear me shout, Hello Central, get me Dr. Jazz. He's got what I need, I know indeed he has. When the world has got me down and I've got the blues, he's the man that helps me put on both of my dancing shoes. The more I get, the more I need it seems. I say, oh, Dr. Jazz and all my dreams. When I'm feeling down and mix, he's the man that gets me fixed. Hello Central, give me Dr. Jazz.
Before before somebody tells me that Jelly Roll Morton did not write all those songs, I'll have to tell you, I didn't say he wrote them. Those are his famous recordings. So we know that he did not write all those songs. The next person we're going to talk about is a guy named Bix Beiderbecke. Leon Bismarck Beiderbecke, born to a upper middle class family of professional people in Davenport, Iowa. His parents thought that he should be a lawyer or a dentist or a doctor. And he wasn't doing well in school. He wasn't headed in that direction. And so they thought, I know what we'll do with our son, Leon. We'll send him to Chicago to get him away from music. So pretty soon he was hanging out with all the musicians up there, and the rest is really history about his musical life. Music was everything to him. He had some patron kind of people who invited him to their house pretty frequently. They had a grand piano, and I guess they thought he was going to come over and chat with them and have tea and things like that, but he would just walk over the piano and get buried in that for hours, and he wasn't really interested in talking to them. He had a bar bet. His bar bet was that he could walk over to the piano, anybody could walk over to the piano and play all 10 fingers, and he would tell them all the notes that he had played. Of course, he had great pitch, and that they would have to buy him a drink if that were not the case. So he apparently won that bet many times because he as it was said of him, I think by Hoagie Carmichael, he lived hard and died young. But about his music, well, one more thing about him. He became a very famous musician. He sent his records home to his parents, and when they moved out of that house, they found all of those records unopened and just stacked in a closet. His parents were not interested in his great musical career. About his music, he was interested in the impressionistic composers like Ravel and Debussy. And so one of the things you'll find in his music is the whole tone scale, which was going on in those days. It's that ethereal thing that makes that impressionistic music by Ravel and Debussy very interesting. We're going to play, what's the first one? Because My Baby Don't Mean Maybe Now. This was brought to us by a man who knows more about Bix Beiderbecke than probably anybody, or at least plays his music with more authority, and that's Randy Sankey. He brought this to us when we had him out as a guest artist. So you'll hear the whole tone scale early in this piece of music. The next song we're going to play is Singin' the Blues. He was a great trumpet player, but he wasn't a show-off trumpet player by any means. He was, in fact, later musicians in the 50s thought that maybe he was the man who invented cool jazz before anybody else, because he was understated but just played beautifully. Eddie Condon said that when you listen to Bix, it was like hearing a woman say yes. Hoagie Carmichael, after Bix died at the age of 28, said, what did Bix die of? And he said he died of everything. So we have a CD called Bix. He's back with all of his music on it. I hope you take a look at that. And the last song we're going to play, he played with the Gold Ket Orchestra, and it's called My Pretty Girl. So Because My Baby Don't Mean Maybe Now, followed by Singin' the Blues, and then My Pretty Girl.
some gasoline, because my baby don't be baby now. I just got a letter just yesterday. Now I feel a little better, and so I'm saying, life is short and life is sweet. Now my life is quite complete, because my baby don't be baby now.
How about those horns, huh? That's some pretty hard stuff. Nice job, guys. Wendy Harston is our great singer, and we have another big Spider-Man tune for you. We're going to do it in New Orleans style. This is a song called Rhythm King, another song that Bix didn't write, but he had a great recording of it. There she is.
Thank you.
One thing about Bix, he often had really interesting beginnings and endings to songs. And that's what we heard at the beginning and end of several of his tunes. So the band would just play a song and he'd say, hey, at the beginning, why don't you do this? And at the end,
That's all right, I guess.
Next guy we're going to talk about is Louis Armstrong, the boy who was born in the poorest of conditions down in New Orleans, raised by his grandmother. It was a tough life on the street for Louis, and he got caught discharging a firearm on New Year's Eve or the 4th of July, I don't remember which. Now, I think that's okay. He shot it up in the air, right? Well, in the neighborhood I was brought up in, it happened all the time. He was sent to a detention home. It was called a colored waifs home. In that home, there was a band director. And that band director made Louis play the drums first. So as he got his rhythm going, then he moved him to the trumpet. And Louis always wanted to play the trumpet. When he got out, the story it just tells itself. I don't really need to talk too much about Louis. His first big break came when King Oliver, who he had idolized all of his young life, sent him a telegram and said, Louis, I got a job for you up here in Chicago. Please come up and join my band. And so his mom packed him a fish sandwich, put it in a paper bag, and he got on the train. And when he got off the train, it was said that he said, I'm looking for King Oliver at the Lincoln Gardens, and the first person he ran into told him exactly where it was because everybody knew about King Oliver's band at the Lincoln Gardens. And in the newspaper, after Louis had been playing for just a while, some writer said, you all have to go down to the Lincoln Gardens and listen to this new kid, Louis Armstrong. He's playing something that no one has ever heard before. That's Louis. What are we going to play? Potato Head Blues? Okay, it takes a heck of a trumpet player to pull this one off. You know what's cool about this is because he wasn't, again, like Bix, he just played beautiful things. He didn't try to be flashy, he just kind of was. And this song is maybe his most beautiful thing, and it's a very gorgeous piece, but it takes an awful lot of chops, as we would say in the music business, to play this. This is the Potato Head Blues. Are you ready? I should introduce everybody. This is John Bredenberg, plays the clarinet. Kevin Bollinger is playing the trumpet. He's working out today. Eric Staffel plays the trombone. My old friend Hank Troy is on the piano for the last 30 years in this band or something. And Tony Pantelis is laying down the drums for us. Roy Thomas, the smoothest, prettiest banjo player you ever heard, is back there. Here comes the Potato Head Blues.
On the tuba, Bill Clark.
Louis Armstrong. He wrote some great licks. I think we're going to leave out the next one for time. We're going to have to leave out a song called Gatemouth. If you have one of our little handouts, I'm sorry, we can get that to you later. It's recorded, you can buy it. We're going to get Wendy back up here because she wants to sing one of her favorite songs. This is called Is That You, Santa Claus? Of course, that's from our new holiday album. And we have that for sale too. If you just give us your money for that, we will send it to you right away. We promise.
This was actually one of my childhood favorite Christmas songs. Because my mother was into alternative Christmas songs as well. And this one got played a gazillion times every holiday season. Preparing for some Christmas sharing, but I pause because hanging my stocking, I can hear him knocking. Is that you, Santa Claus? Sure is dark out, ain't the slightest spark on my slacking jaw. Now, who's that? Who is it? Stopping for a visit. Is that you, Santa Claus? Are you bringing up a present for me? Something pleasant for me. It's just what I've been waiting for. A winter slipping under the door. Oh, wind's howling, how could that be a yowling? My legs feel like straw. Oh, me, my kind, would you mind? Is that you, Santa Claus? You, Santa Claus? Now, who's that? Who is it? Stopping for a visit. Is that you, Santa Claus? Whoa there, Santa, you gave me a stand. Now stop fooling, I know you're saying we don't believe in no. I can't understand why the change is made. I can see old Santa at the keyhole, and I'll give to the call. One look outside your home, there's an eye there. Is that you, Santa Claus? Please, please, down on my knees, won't you say that's you? Santa Claus! We have the good fortune to make friends with the man who was Louis Armstrong's producer in the late 50s and the 60s, into the early, well, late 40s and the early 60s. And George Avakian became friends with the band and a fan of the band. And he decided, he decided that he was going to reproduce an album from 1949 on CD in about 1990. And so he sent me a copy of this CD when he got it finished. And there's this lovely picture at the end of the liner notes with George Avakian, Louis Armstrong, and W.C. Handy, the father of the blues, who that album had been a tribute to. Underneath the picture were the rest of the liner notes. And at the bottom of the liner notes, he wrote to me, by the way, to make this make sense, one of Louis' nicknames was Pops. He wrote to me, to Wendy, who was simply too young for me to have recorded her with Pops. That was the coolest thing anybody ever said to me. So we picked this song off the album. It's kind of an unusual song that a lot of people don't know from Louis. It's a W.C. Handy tune called Chantez le Bal. In the morning.